Alrighty, what is good? I hope everybody is doing well. This is going to be the market review for today. Today is January 28th. I would say today was a pretty good price action, honestly. This is one of the best AM sessions that I've seen in a while. Not many opportunities to get in, I would say, but if you did get in, you were rewarded pretty well. So I really just want to go over the PM trade that I took, that loser that I took in PM, as well as the AM trade, and kind of explain some other things that I was looking at. In terms of levels, in terms of key areas, kind of et cetera, right? So if we go all the way down to AM session, right over here. So let me go full screen really quick, and I want to talk about a couple things. So like I've said, I usually always have an ES chart or something pulled up on my screen at this given moment, okay? Now, before I even get into this, I want to talk about this right over here. So something in relation to what I had talked about in, I believe, 2 videos ago, the GB model. This was a picture-perfect GB model right over here. This is one you should study a lot because if we look at this, look how perfect this is. This, like, you can't ask for much more. What key things do we have here, right? We have a 15-minute CSS down here that's still unmitigated. We have not tapped back into it, right? I even believe if we go up to the hourly chart, we do have an hourly CSS as well. We have a close below here, a close above, okay? More importantly, if we go back to the 15-minute chart, what is all of this right here? If we measure this high down to this low, boom, what is this? Accumulation. What are we expecting after accumulation? Manipulation. Where do we know it's gonna likely be? Well, if we have a key area, more than likely the manipulation is gonna happen into that key area before we pivot higher, okay? So when we note that and understand and recognize kind of what structure we have been given and trade in accordance to that, it really clears the picture up, okay? So now if we go down to the 1-minute chart and go all the way back over here, look how beautiful this structure is right over here with this 15-minute CSS, okay? What do we have? Beautiful swing, okay? If we look at this swing, look how close, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of stuff lining up. Look at where the 50% of this is, this zone. Look at the midpoint of yeet, that 7475 level to the tick, right? They're in the exact same spot. Those are the things you need to be looking for. And if you look how beautiful this reaction is right here, look at this. Similar to what I was talking about in the market review yesterday, what do I want to see in yeet? Tap and go. I don't want to see it dance around there. What do we see down here? We get that first initial tap, that taps back up into this imbalance right up here. This is kind of something I was keeping my eye on. This wasn't the greatest close up above this imbalance. Had it been a little bit stronger, I could have possibly seen a pivot out of there. But since we got a relatively shallow close, there was still reason to believe that we could come back and tap back into this level for a double tap, which we did get, right? We got that double tap here. I did take a blind limit down here at 17925, right at the 7475, like I've talked about in that GB video, the GB model video. And you can see precisely we tapped that 7475 and just absolutely explode off of it, right? I had taken, I believe I took a trim right here at 62 points, and then I had a full close. I believe it was at this fractal high for 83.25 points, but obviously you can see that was the low of AM session and proceeded to pump, I believe, 447 points from there. But here's the thing you got to realize, right? Those accounts that I was trading on this morning, they have consistency rules, right? I can't hold this entire move. Would it be nice to? Yes, but I mean, that's part of it, okay? Had I maybe been on my top step accounts for this morning, maybe it would have been a little bit of a different story, but at the end of the day, profit's still secured, right? We picked a really good area to go long and engage with price. That's ultimately what matters and where your focus should be, not on the missed out profits, right? You should not be focusing on that and let it kind of get in your mind. Because a lot of times what you'll see happen and what you'll see people do is they'll think these moves are going to happen every single day, every single hour, and they'll go chasing these moves. And ultimately, just over like a period on an equity curve basis, it's not going to be as consistent as they would like because they're trying to chase these 400-point moves. Don't be doing that. Please, don't be doing that. Okay? So obviously, that was it for AM session for me. There was kind of something up here that may have had my interest. This is basically right when I got off of the charts in the morning. But if we go up here, let's take a peek really quick. I believe there was a 15-minute POI. Yeah, we were tapping into a 15-minute imbalance right over here. You can see, okay, we get that first initial tap right there. If we drag this over and go down to the 1-minute chart, okay, if we look at this, what do we have right here from this low up to this high? What is this? Accumulation. Where's our manipulation from the range? Right down here. So you could be looking to possibly engage with price over here. I did not really want to because my price expectation for today was not a 500-point gigapump. Rather, I wanted to possibly entertain something if we came back down and returned back to a discounted price, which we obviously never did. So I'm perfectly fine with kind of skipping over the opportunity. And like I said, this is basically when I got off for AM charts and went about my business until PM session. So some nice areas right over there. I do want to check the 3-minute really quick. See if there was anything possible. No, we didn't close below there, so that wouldn't have done you anything. I do believe, if we go back and look at this, okay, yeah. This is where I was looking to engage right around this area because this is near the 50%, and kind of just monitoring ES at the same exact time, right? So one other key level that I did have leading into PM was, I believe it was 57600. I had sent this out, and we can draw this and drag it over. If I can get it right on there. This was a key level for me today. I wanted to see some sort of pivot or some sort of retracement off of that. Fortunately, I was not at my computer at this moment. When we did come up and tap this, I was actually out walking. But you can see this does get a beautiful reaction. And if you want to know what that level is, let's just drag this line over and I'll explain it a little bit. Okay. This may take a second. You can see this little box I have highlighted here. Right over here. This S&D structure right here, of this structural break right here, that's what my level was derived from. Right there you can see, right there, that 50%. That's where that level was from. Obviously, we could possibly expect it to come up to trade to the 50%, but I just wanted to have a level that I knew price was likely going to meet. In the instance we did trade up there, and as you can see, we actually don't take the 50% or tap it. And this is where I went a little bit stupid. Not stupid, I mean, risk was managed, and it was a normal size loss, right? But it definitely could have been traded a little bit better. I'll be honest about that for sure. This was kind of, it was nagging me a little bit, and usually losers don't bother me, but it was more nagging me at the fact that my ability and how I know I can trade and engaging and stuff like this the way I did is not how I am, right? That's not the trader I am. I know I'm better than that. So it's just kind of those little mental notes. Don't let it get down on you, right? But in regards to this, I literally just blindly limited the 50%. That was my first wrong problem. Why was that bad idea? Okay. So if we come over here and look at this swing, what do we do right here? We come up, we almost tap the 50, displace away. Automatically, from that mitigation right there and failing to tap the 50%, I automatically know this is likely going to be going higher into the zone, okay? Excuse me. Right over towards this structure up here, right? Coming to sweep this high, tap into this unmitigated structure up here. So automatically, that was my first problem. I'm a precision trader, and that thought process has no correlation with precision at all. First and foremost, even thinking about taking a blind limit at this 50%, I should have been looking for a sell stop and not just a blind limit, especially with the age of that swing, right? Usually I'm wanting to engage in swings that are new and fresh, not super old. And that was kind of my first problem with that. And obviously that's a recognition. I know how I should be trading these zones, and I did not follow that in PM session. That's part of it. I'm always going to make mistakes, right? I'm human. I'm not a robot. Especially too, ES at that current moment, we had a very obvious high. I believe it was this high right here on ES in correlation that we were gravitating up towards, and we didn't sweep that till I believe right up around here, around the 600 levels. So kind of a couple things that I just was negligible about and didn't pay attention to like I should be. Okay. And I own up to those mistakes. That's part of it, right? At the end of the day, if you have proper risk management, those will be perfectly fine. They're just learning lessons, okay? So now, if we get into Asia session, because I did just finish up Asia session, so I might as well talk about the trade that I did take. Let me delete this, and let's look at this. So I want to measure this low right over here up to this high. Why am I anchoring off of that? Well, I know on a higher time frame, there's going to be some sort of CSS resting over here. Why? Well, we have a valid zone, okay? Valid swing, right? We have that leg down. We have that nice close up above, right? We see some accumulation up here. We can even get close over here and get that accumulation there, okay? So there's going to be a valid area for me to anchor off of for GB, right? And what do we see? We get this first initial tap. This is right at 5 p.m. open, CST. I'm not going to be placing limits the second the market opens at 5. That's just illogical. That's stupid. That's not something I want to be doing as a trader. I know it's not favorable on my end, and it's really just gambling at that point. I want to wait and let proper structure form and be able to engage in it then. Okay? So if we look at this from this perspective, what do we see? We get that first initial tap. We displace away. We end up missing that first yeet level, that 4-1 by 2 ticks. Okay? Now, if we look at this structure on the 1 minute, what do we have? Close up above that high. More importantly, I would say that's a good anchor high to kind of base it upon, right? We get that close up of that high. We get this tap right here. I'm looking on my phone. I'm like, okay, we get this tap. I want to see the reaction here. When we get this tap and trade back up in here and stall right here in this structure right here, I'm like, this is perfect. I want to place a limit right below this low, back at this line right over here, right at the midpoint, that 7475. That is where I have my limit, that the trade that I just posted on Twitter, right there, right? So what can I do from that? Okay, I know a couple things. This is a double tap right in this area. We're sweeping this low, so this should be an explosive move, and this should send us up to at least take this internal high, this internal high. I really was a huge fan of what I saw with this candle specifically. This devil's mark right here, this wickless candle, that was a clear indication that the market was likely going to want to draw up there once we got that nice bounce manipulation right here. As you can see, beautiful trades through it. And you can see, let me turn on my executions for this really quick so you can see it. Right here, right? There's that tap right at that level. Boom. I get my first trim right at this high. And once we close above this imbalance right here, I was like, okay, here's what's going to happen. We're either going to explode up to this high internally and trade up to this high and deliver the yeet level, or if we fail and come back below this, right, more than likely we're going to come all the way back into the range. So once we got this close up above, I immediately trailed up to this line right here, my last remaining 5 contracts right at 56625, because I knew what was likely going to happen in the instance we closed back below. And if you look at this, look what happened. This is what I call good management. Great management. Pat myself on the back with that because, I mean, that's about as picture perfect as you can get, in my opinion. Caught the bottom, caught the top, right? You can't ask for much more than that. And I'm content with that in Asia session, right? So I believe that's going to be it for today. Nothing too crazy to talk about. Like I said, go study this right here. And I want to talk about, I think I touched on this in the video, maybe the market review yesterday or the GB model video. But something I talked about was, I believe, and if I didn't talk about this, well, then you'll know now, is a good signature to see, right, is if we expand to, if you're wanting to wait for extra confirmation, right, if we get a close into yeet, close above, then we tap back in, that's usually where you'll see some sort of expansion, right? So on a fractal level, that's based on candlestick structure. On an intermediate structure level, what is this? Close below, close above, double tap, or technically first tap on an intermediate structure, second tap, boom, what does that do? Send us, right? It's fractal. It's all fractal. Kind of key things you need to understand. It's pretty cool too once you kind of can acknowledge it and incorporate it into your trading. Okay? So that's going to be the market review for today. Nothing else I need to or have to talk about. And yeah, with that being said, y'all have a blessed evening, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.